Okay guys, I have seen Crawl. Now it's time to do top 10 favorite creature features part 2. Let's do this. What's up guys, it's time for another Drumdums ranking. I recently watched Crawl, and now we're gonna find out if Crawl actually made it into part 2 of my top 10. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll put a card right here. You can go and you can check that out. Really fun list. And I didn't put all the best on that list. I definitely divvied up the best between the two countdowns. So I got some great ones in here for you guys. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to give you one honorable mention. I didn't give you an honorable mention on the last one, but there was one movie that I definitely wanted to mention. There's a lot of good creature features out there, and I'm sure I missed a lot. Haven't seen every creature feature. So let me know in the comments if I missed any. But one honorable mention I gotta give is The Ghost in the Darkness. And just because it's a movie that is not mentioned that often, with Michael Douglas, Val Kilmer, came out in the 90s, and it's based on a true story about these two lions that hunted and killed people for sport over in Africa. And the story is so interesting, and the lions are scary as hell in this movie. It's so interesting that there is a museum in Chicago that to this day has the bones from the lions. So if you haven't seen Ghost in the Darkness, definitely check it out. Now, let's jump right into the top 10. Number 10 is going to be one of my favorite werewolf movies, actually. Dog Soldiers, directed by Neil Marshall. This is a very low budget movie, but man, it's effective. You know, you have these British soldiers and they're doing this training mission, and they end up in this like farmhouse. And as far as like scary werewolf movies go, this one is definitely scary as hell. And the werewolves are all practical effects. There's no CGI in this movie whatsoever. And the werewolves look very convincing and, again, very scary. But, I like the sense of paranoia in this movie, too. And, this group of soldiers. And, they're in this horrific situation. They know the danger. And, they're trying to make it until morning. Because right now, it's a full moon. And they got this threat of all these werewolves. And it's bloody fun as hell. Number 9, one of my favorite movies, The Descent. I have praised this movie to no end. I love the characters. It's like the opposite of The Thing. It's all females. And they go into this cave. And, you have that element of danger already because they're in this cave. They don't know how to get out of it. And so there's that sense of paranoia. But then all of a sudden there's these creatures, and in the second half of this movie is freaking nuts. Bloody as hell, and it gives you everything you want in a creature feature, and you got the great characters with Juno and Sarah. Two of my favorite characters in a horror movie. And The Descent is just an iconic horror film all around. Another one directed by Neil Marshall. I didn't even realize that. Number 8, I gotta throw a Godzilla movie in here, and I'm gonna do the 2014 Godzilla movie. I'm not like the biggest Godzilla fanatic. I liked Kingdom of the Monsters. I've heard that if you are like a major Godzilla fan, then that's the one you're gonna wanna watch because it has, all those other giant monsters. But, as far as characters go, I hated the characters in Godzilla King of the Monsters. But I actually dug some of the characters in the 2014 one, and I liked the look of Godzilla in that movie, especially when he's, under that bridge. That's a really cool scene. And of course, the final fight at the end was badass, in the let them fight scene. So yeah, I gotta throw a Godzilla movie on here. Why not? Number 7, I realized that I put the same movie on twice. So I'm gonna throw you just a brand new one right now. One that just came to my head. Species. And I'm glad that I made that mistake because Species is definitely worth mentioning. This is another Geiger creation, or is it Giger? And Species is one that really caught my eye. Well, you could probably understand why it caught my eye, Natasha Henstridge. But it's a fun ass ride of a movie, and it's interesting because this alien, she uses seduction to get her way, and eventually she wants to take over the world. But, she wants to find a mate so she can have a baby. And, she can literally have a baby almost right after, she has sex. And so it combines the dangers of seduction and sex with horror. and it's very effective actually. And it's one that I've watched quite a few times throughout the years. And I really liked Michael Madsen in that movie actually. You know, Michael Madsen's just a badass in just about anything he plays. Okay, number 6, Crawl. Oh my God, guys, I loved this movie. You've seen my review, so you already know I loved it, but man, this movie was fun. And I really wanted to go see it, and I thought it was gonna be only okay, but when I left that theater, I was just elated. I was like, wow, that was everything I could ever want in a creature feature, just because of the alligators in the movie. You know, I thought it was just gonna be, you know, an alligator where you didn't see it that much, and, you know, maybe a few scares here and there, but no, these alligators were hungry as hell, blood all over the place, they were freaking tearing limbs apart. Even the main character, played by Kaya Scodelario, she gets bitten a few times in the movie. But massive props to Alexandra Aja for turning out a great creature feature. Number 5, another giant monster movie, Cloverfield. Cloverfield is probably my favorite found footage movie. I think it's done so effectively. You know, you got this group of young people at this party, and they're like in the middle of all this. And then all of a sudden, you know, this giant monster is just walking through the streets of New York. And who doesn't love that, right? You know, there's no better location for a giant monster than New York City. And, you know, Cloverfield was directed, I think, very well, actually. You know, because they don't show the monster that much, but when they do show the monster, it's very awe-inspiring. You know, you get to see like just little glimpses, but through the lens of a camera, you know, just like a handheld camera, and it makes it even more effective, I think. Number 4 is a classic Stephen King movie, Cujo. Who would have thought that a St. Bernard could be so damn scary? But man, this is such an effective movie with Dee Wallace. And throughout the whole movie, she's trying to protect her son. And they're literally like stuck in this car throughout like 95% of the movie. And every time they get out, the dog attacks. And it's really scary and unsettling. I love when I really start feeling for characters, and I wanted these two characters to live so bad. And her son has asthma. They use asthma in horror movies all the time. It's like a go-to, you know, it's an easy go-to, but it works, and it definitely works in Cujo. Number 3, now this is a big spectacle of a movie, Starship Troopers. I remember seeing this when it first came out in the theater, and it's just this combination of different genres, but the bugs, even still to this day, look very effective. The violence is really over the top, thanks to Paul Verhoeven. And then there's this sex element to the movie too. It's really crazy. And it's one of the most unique like creature features I've ever seen. Do you want to know more? Number 2, you can't have a creature feature movie without The Thing. And I pondered whether The Thing is a creature feature, and I think it really is. You know, because The Thing is a creature. It can take the form of a human, of course, but you know, it's still a creature. And The Thing, what else can be said about the movie? It's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. You know, thanks to the genius of John Carpenter and Rob Bottin with those amazing practical effects. And, you know, I like that at the end of the movie, you don't really know who The Thing is. You know, everybody has their speculations, but we don't know for sure. And McCready, played by Kurt Russell, one of my favorite all-time characters ever put to film. And then number 1, Alien. There's no way I could not put Alien at the top of this list. What Ridley Scott created with Alien, I think, is nothing short of a masterpiece. Seriously. Jerry Goldsmith's score, you know, just haunting and hypnotic. The xenomorph is probably the most unique and amazing looking specimens of a creature ever created. The movie is really such a masterpiece, you know, and there's like this artistic vibe to the movie, you know. I'm like, you could get pretty highbrow with Alien. And then at its core, it's really kind of a slasher movie. You know, they're just on the Nostromo, the ship, and the xenomorph is going around just killing all the crew one by one. So it's so many different elements that all come together and work perfectly. And, you know, it's one of my most watched movies, for sure. So I had to put Alien at the top of this list. So, give me your favorite creature features down below. If you commented on the first video, give me some more creature features in this video. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.